Hello and welcome to the Uplevel Your Health, Wealth, and Your Mindset for the New Paradigm Summit. I'm your host, Mariko Hirakawa, and I'm super fired up to share with you our guest for today, who's going to speak to us about speaking and finding your authentic voice. And speaking of which, I would love for you to voice your insights, your ahas, and what you've taken action on since listening to the Summit Talks at our Facebook private page, Facebook private group, which is Uplevel Summit. So just go to facebook.com and do a little search for Uplevel Summit and all the conversations happening there, as well as some super juicy contest giveaways. I mean, the top prize is like a 7-day stay in a resort in Mexico, so definitely join the group there. And also, if you've missed the conversation thus far, you can catch it all at uplevel-summit.com/upgrade. And right now, while the summit is on, it's on a very reduced pricing. So do check it out because you get the golden nuggets of all the speakers, every interview that we've had. So you can just, get it at a glance, and also, so you really can review and understand what's been discussed. It's kind of a bullet point way of consuming the whole summit. So without further delay, I want to just introduce to you my dear friend, and I feel like reunited friend, Lynn Kirkham. And Lynn is an amazing coach, leader, and entrepreneur, and she uses her unique inside-out approach to transform her age-old fear of public speaking. Well, not her, our age-old fear of public speaking. And through her company, Yes, You Can Speak, Lynn has helped countless professionals, CEOs, and TEDx speakers, entrepreneurs, and undeserved women discover their voice. So welcome, Lynn, and thank you for all the transformational work you do.
Thank you, Mariko. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I still remember the first moment I met you 7 years ago.
Amazing. I can't believe it's been 7 years, but so happy to find you again.
Thank you. And I knew that you were doing great work in the world, so it's an honor to be with you. Thank you.
So I want to ask you, a little bit about how you came to do what you do, because it's so unique. I mean, how did you find your calling of helping others, helping entrepreneurs, helping leaders speak on stage?
Oh my goodness. Well, public speaking was my all-time biggest fear. And believe it or not, I was in sales, in corporate sales for over 20 years. And I was top in my field, and I was great at speaking with one person. And I really mastered the art of one-on-one communication. But you put me in a room of 2 or 3 or more people, and my teeth would literally chatter. It was awful. And so I did everything that I could not to ever be in the spotlight. After 20 years of working 80 to 100 hours a week, I was meditating one day next to my redwood trees. I was living in Marin County at the time, and I got this voice that I had to quit my job and sell my house and throw everything in storage and pack a bag and go. So I'm sure that, we've all gotten many, many whispers of intuition and whispers of guidance throughout our life. But this was literally a man's voice, and it sounded like it was coming through a megaphone. It was crazy loud, and it rocked me to my core, to the point where I literally, that next day, I quit my job. I put my house on the market. I packed a bag, and I ended up traveling around the world, being in service every single day. For 3 years, I took a solo journey around the world, and I ended up at an orphanage in Kerala, India. And I knocked on the door, and I was greeted by 36 beautiful girls, and they immediately asked me to stay, and I did. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because me staying there literally changed my life. I took care of them, but they gave me the biggest gift. I realized there in that orphanage that these girls had what they needed, but they had no voice whatsoever. And I became a stand for women and girls and their voices. Back to the US, a couple weeks later, I was invited to speak in front of 400 people. I told someone my story, and he said, "Oh my goodness, you've got to be on my stage. You've got to stand in for me and give the Sunday talk." And I said, "Thank you, but no way, no way. I may faint on stage, and I'm just not going to do that to myself or to you and your people." And he looked me in the eyes, and in this moment, my life changed. He said, "You are meant to speak. You are meant to be on my stage. You are meant to tell this story. and change the lives of people here. I will be by your side every step of the way. Because he was already a great speaker and a great leader, when he looked me in the eyes and said those words to me, literally it was like a light switch went on inside of me. And I was then able to begin to believe in myself.
Isn't it amazing how somebody believing in you makes you believe in you, even, and it just, again, flips that switch of any shyness or holding back. And what an amazing story, Lynn. I had no idea that, just from that call that you received and it's one thing to get a call, but another thing to act on it and to embark on such a journey. Including myself, you're the third person actually in the summit that I'm speaking to who got such transformation in India. I mean, I understand the heart melting, wrenching experience of these beautiful Indian kids. They're just so radiant and so innocent, and you want to do everything you can to support them. This whole summit is about really now in this 2019, 2020, 2022. I mean, we are living in this massive, tumultuous era of change and shifts, and we are all being called to kind of step up. And I wanted to ask you, speaking is such an age-old craft and an art, but what is it about speaking, do you think, that makes it such an important skill to master in this era of constant disruptions, constant change?
To me, we were all born with a seed of pure potential, and it's our birthright to express it. And in order for us to keep up with the constant change, in order for us to learn and to grow and to make that difference that we're here to make, it's really important for us to connect with our highest and best self and master our internal state so that we can then connect with the flow of the universe that is coming through us at every moment, and then be able to express it in a way that's congruent and express it from our heart. Because when we're expressing from our heart and from our core and from our truth, we actually move people. And that's why I believe it's so vitally important. We move ourselves and we move others. And we just make a bigger positive difference in the world.
Because we are living in a vibrational universe, isn't it? So it's like, when you talk about switching on that inner switch, it's like what gets switched on is like your vibrational frequency goes way up when you take a stand for, your higher being. And sometimes that's what it takes for us to find our, purpose. I feel, many people are searching their purpose now in this tumultuous era of change, because I feel like if you don't have that big, something bigger than yourself that you're serving, you feel so like a leaf, being blown by the winds of change, and I find for myself that it's this, I'm so grateful for the mission that I serve, that it holds me kind of steady, no matter, how stormy the winds of change get, and I think that perhaps speaking has something to do with putting that, mission, your purpose, what you're serving, the higher thing you're serving, to the foreground in a way that you can't escape it almost.
Exactly. And when we speak it, we just have a greater vibration that goes through our cells. And so it enables us to move forward with it.
I talked about authentic voice, and it was one of the titles that we had talked about, but how do you go about finding, that authentic voice if you have no idea what it is?
75% of the people in this world are afraid. They're afraid to be in the spotlight. They're afraid to get up and be seen, and have all eyes on them. And when they're afraid, they are always speaking from here up. So they're in their head and they're really disconnected from their heart, the heart of their message, and the heart of their audience. So what's really, really important is for everyone to be able to speak from here. And how do you do that? It's a process. It's an inner process. There's no easy way to do it, but it's really about changing the way our nervous system perceives being in the spotlight. that enables us to go from our head to our heart and our core, so that our message can come across with the why behind it, with that energy behind it, so that it lands with the people we're speaking to.
It's kind of amazing how the human body is like a tuning fork, isn't it? Like to the degree that we can, open our hearts, that's the degree that we can open our audience's heart. And I really learned that from teaching yoga. And when I first started teaching yoga, I was just thrown into a group class of like 30 people, and I was petrified. Probably was like the worst class I'd probably ever taught, because that feeling of disconnectedness and all being in your head, because actually you're all thinking about yourself, isn't it? You're thinking, what am I going to say? How do I look? And you're all thinking about yourself. But when that shifted for me, when I really started to think about just serving, forgetting myself, when I could get to the point where I could actually forget myself and think about truly, truly serving, then I felt like my whole body was then like available. The energy of my whole body was then available to interact with the class. And I felt like this kind of engagement was like this giving and receiving, an upward spiral of energy that became it was like a symphony, and a total joy. And you receive so much energy back when you're able to do that. So I totally get, what you're talking about. But what is, so you have a process through which you work with your clients, I think maybe mostly one-on-one, or also in group sessions?
Both. Yeah. One-on-one to eliminate or to identify and release the past hurts, that past traumas, little t, big T traumas. Every time that we were told we were not good enough, every time we were embarrassed in front of people, it could be one person or it could be a whole group. Any time that we forgot our line in a play, or forgot the line in a poem that we were to recite, or whatever it was. But whenever we think about different events, life events, and even if they happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, and we still feel a negative charge, what happens is whenever we're in a similar situation where we're in the spotlight, that gets triggered. Mm-hmm. That past event gets triggered, and our nervous system goes crazy. We'll get the rapid heartbeat, we'll stop breathing, or we'll start panicking, having a panic attack, or we'll just get totally in our head. We might turn red, we might shake. But so first it's really about letting go, identifying and releasing all of those triggers so that they can actually do what you do so well. And I just have to say that, Mariko, you are my favorite yoga teacher, because a couple reasons. Because you are so connected, even on video. I can't be with you. I wish I was closer to you, but I can be with you on video, and I feel like you're right here, and I feel like you care so much. And that is the magic. That is you. And that is what we all have, our own version of that, when we can get out of our head, go into our heart, and be in that place of service. It's so key. I love how you said that, because it really is. It's about being in service to your audience. And when you care so much about your audience, it takes all of the attention off of yourself looking good. It doesn't matter what you look like. All that matters to your audience is your heart, and that you care about them, and that you connect with them, and that you really see them. And when that happens, believe it or not, but maybe others don't know, is that you tap into the flow, a higher flow of the universe that just channeled through you. That's why you are able to create such magic in your yoga classes. It's because you're tapped into something so much bigger. It goes beyond your mind, way beyond your mind. And it's your presence that makes the difference. I teach group classes as well. And what we do there is we desensitize people in front of the room. We get them really comfortable with having all eyes on them and not having to perform, just being themselves, so they can get comfortable in their own skin first, realizing that no matter what, they're good enough and that they belong in front of a room. When that switch happens inside of them, when they realize that they do belong, and that it's safe and that the audience wants them there, then they're able to get out of their head and allow their heart to speak. And when they do, they move rooms. And it's just beautiful.
I love how with your approach to speaking, I mean, I know that there are other people who work with speakers and it's very much like almost an intellectual process, but I love how, you take very much the self-healing approach to speaking. And I think that's really, I've been teaching people how to like manifest their dreams and vision and all of that. And I realized that in the middle of teaching, I realized one day I had an aha and thought, the real reason that we want to manifest our dreams is not necessarily, of course, manifesting the dream is wonderful, but it's also who we become in the process of, reaching for that. And I feel like it's the same thing of the process of becoming a speaker is almost that journey is so rich and meaningful, at least the way you approach it, and I think that's such a beautiful way that people can heal themselves of their past trauma and find a completely newfound freedom to really find that authentic voice. And it is a great freedom and a power, isn't it? When your throat chakra is open and you can like really speak your truth and there is, you're absolutely congruent with what you say. I mean, that is truly powerful.
It's truly powerful, and I just got chills. Yes, and that is what changes the world. When we are congruent with the words that come through us, we move people, we move ourselves, we make a difference in the world. And yes, there's two different ways that I've seen to become a better speaker. One is an outside-in approach, and that's where you can read a bunch of books or watch a bunch of videos and do your best to implement what it is that they say. Or there's the inside out approach, and my approach definitely is the inside out approach. And what I found is that when you do use the inside out approach, the shifts are permanent. And it's not just about being able to speak at work or speak if you're an entrepreneur about what it is that you do. It's life-changing. It changes every aspect of your life because you are actually coming to the table authentically each and every time. And you know that if you stay connected with your core, if you stay connected with your audience, even if you're having to deliver some not so great news, if you are authentic and caring, you will be received most of the time. It's when we get stuck in our head and we're trying to protect ourselves and we're afraid, our guard goes up. That's the biggest problem, is when we're in our head and we're afraid, our guard goes up. And then just like right here, you cannot feel me right now because my guard's up. And we put this energetic guard up where in that moment we think that we're safe, but truly we're not. We're not. We're actually a lot less safe than if we became very vulnerable, really, did some good yogic breathing like you teach, and keep the guard down and keep our heart open so that people can feel us. And if they feel us, then they're going to accept us much more often and the message, even if it's not a good one.
Isn't that one of the paradigm shifts I feel is like vulnerability is strength? I think that's just one of the paradigm shifts of the age of Aquarius that, many, visionaries are talking about. Really, we're coming from this kind of patriarchal way of like a very kind of aggression-based way to, exposing our vulnerability, and that being connected to your ability to lead, your ability to voice your truth and make an impact. So what an amazing, I think vulnerability is something, maybe one of the feminine principles. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it allows us to be really authentically ourselves, and it makes us very relatable, isn't it? Because when you show that, you're not only strong, like externally strong, and you have all these expertise and knowledge, but you also are a human being, and you're not afraid of showing that humanity, as the challenges you have faced, the challenges you perhaps you still face, and that becomes a strength in you.
Absolutely. And it's that vulnerability that is that place of connection with others. It's where people connect with us. It's not in us being perfect. It's not in us saying the right thing exactly the right way, the way we scripted it. It's not about that. It's about being real. And that's where the power is, for sure. Yes, vulnerability requires great strength. Absolutely. And it's what the world needs.
And I know you have a beautiful gift for my audience today. Would you speak a little bit about what that is?
Oh my gosh, it's really fun. It's a short video, and it's called 7 Keys to Stop the Jitters and Reclaim Your Voice. And there are really fast tips for you to be able to come back to center, because that's the most important thing. For you to come off as authentic and true and powerful and a leader and inspiring, you've got to come back to center. If it's all coming from your head, you're not going to inspire. So this video, it's awesome. In just a few minutes, you are going to have 7 tools that you can use that will really change the way you show up.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to getting my fingers on that. Where can they find it? Where can they get it? bit.ly/stop jitters, STOPJITTERS. Awesome, I love it. bit.ly/
all lowercase.
Right, bit.ly/stop jitters, all lowercase, and the button will be down below. And I mean, Lynn is such a compassionate human being, as you can see, and I think that it's, if you have any aspiration to speak, or even if you don't speak in front of large groups, it's also, if you're just doing a presentation, in-house presentation, I mean, you still need to claim that authentic voice. Even if you're doing one-on-one speaking, I find just being in touch with that authentic voice. And as a teacher, I'm always, I did start to look at that as an art. How do I articulate what I know in a way that lands, and how do I embody my truth and all those things. And I think it's always a constant growth journey. And I love learning from many, different teachers, because each teacher brings such a unique flavor to their wisdom and knowledge. And Lynn is such a talented teacher, and I highly recommend just go to bit.ly/stop jitters and check out her video. I think it'll inspire you to take your speaking to the next level. And so when you work with your private clients, Lynn, is there, could you give us a little bit like a bird's eye view of the step-by-step that you take your private clients through?
The first thing that I would say about 80% of my clients do is they come for core repatterning private sessions. And core repatterning technique is something that I developed. I've been working with people for over 30 years. I've done a lot of work around wanting to change how we interpret the past, right? And I'm sure you've heard this saying a million times, Mariko, peeling the layer of the onion. I peeled another layer of the onion off. And we think that we've overcome this hurdle, this past hurt. But a couple weeks later, it's hurting us again. And so my prayer had always been, oh my gosh, why can't we just pull out the whole onion? Why do we have to keep peeling the layers? Anyway, after working with over 1,000 people, I created this technique where we literally identify the top 20, 25 life events that were very hurtful. Anyway, we identify these, we rate them on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is neutral, 10 is a super high charge, right? And then we find out where we've stored them in our body, because if we feel a charge around them, if we get upset, even if they've happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, they're still alive in our cells. And so we find out where they are. We literally go into the pain body there and give it authentic voice. I go in with you. Metaphorically, I go in with you, and we give it voice, and literally within 5 to 20 minutes, typically, it's gone. Something that you might have carried for 20 or 30 years is now gone, and it appears that the whole onion is removed. So that's the first step. Because when we're really afraid to speak, or when we're afraid to be seen, it's our nervous system that gets activated. These past life, younger life experiences get activated. And that's why the sensations can sometimes be overwhelming. So that's the first thing. And then after that, most people go into a group program. It's just 4 days. Level 1 is 2 days. Level 2 is 2 days. And boom, they are good to go on a TED stage after that, believe it or not. And even people who would say, you know, on a scale of 0 to 10, you know, they're at a -10 if they were even to think about getting up in front of a group. They're able to get on a conference stage or a TED stage or just speak at their company, be able to speak up in a meeting, be able to make a difference wherever they are, or speak up to their partner and set boundaries, or you know, give a signature talk if they're an entrepreneur and move the room. And they do it with connection, they do it with heart, they do it with presence, that part of them that has been meant to come through them, that their head or the past trauma has stopped.
Wow, sounds like amazing, like therapy healing and with a purpose, you know. And I know you're offering one-on-one complimentary sessions to...
I am. You know, if anyone would like to have a speaker breakthrough session, I would be more than happy to give any of your listeners that session. It's 45 minutes.
If you feel you could really benefit from Lynn's healing presence and you know, breaking through to the point where you can speak publicly, which is, I mean, really, let's face it, it is one of the top fears that of all time, right? That most people have, most human beings have on this planet. It's like maybe even higher than death, you know? So I highly recommend, you know, there'll be a link right below this video where you can receive Lynn's gift of the 7 keys to stop and reclaim your voice, as well as book a free session, which I think is really the highest. I mean, it's such a gift because, I mean, truly time and all your expertise of your 30 years of serving. I mean, this is such an amazing gift, and I really thank you for your generosity, Lynn. And I highly recommend that you know, I wish I could have that session with you, because I'm sure I could break through many things that I still experience. You know, we all are like inner glass ceiling, you know, we're all our inner own worst obstacles. And it's one of the reasons I named this summit Uplevel. It's like we need to, you know, rise above ourselves, rise above our past limitations, our inner stories, and all the ways we hold ourselves back, you know, so that we can move towards that fullest, highest expression that we're being called to rise to, you know, in this era of change. Do take advantage of Lynn's amazing gift of a one-on-one session. And I would love for you to speak to Lynn. What is the one key skill, you know, that for the people listening, that they could implement today that will transform the way they will use their voice?
I would say, number one, trust yourself. Trust that if you are in service, if you are being in service to your audience, that the right words are going to come through. And the skill of making and maintaining eye contact is key. Most people scan the room. Most of us have been taught to scan. We do not actually look at one person at a time. So the skill is when you're in front of a group, and it could be, you know, one person, it could be a whole room full, but speak to one person for a sentence or a little bit longer until the words land. How do you know? How do you know if they land? Because you're actually connected with them and you're watching them. You're looking to see, oh, they nodded their head. Oh, they took a breath. Oh, they just relaxed. Oh, they smiled. Whatever it is, but that landed, then you go with somebody else. Why is this important? Because it's the connection that you make with one person at a time that creates a magnetic resonance between you and that person. It's key. The greatest speakers make it all about one person at a time. And it's that magnetic resonance that, believe it or not, pulls everyone else in. So when you're coming from your heart and making it just about your audience and staying with them, that is going to make the biggest difference in how you are received. Amazing tip, Lynn. Thank you. And I think that it's so true that marketing in general, when you are speaking to one person deeply in an authentic way, you're actually, you know, your message has so much more resonance. And it's so true, isn't it? It's like the heart-to-heart, one-on-one connection. It's like two universes meeting that creates fireworks, isn't it? Absolutely, positively. And what's so funny is Katy Perry firework video. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but Katy Perry has a song called Fireworks. Believe it or not, and during that video, fireworks coming out of her heart. Everybody had fireworks coming out of her heart. And what was interesting about that is I was watching that video one day for whatever reason. I was watching that video. I felt like I wasn't doing enough of that. I was not doing enough of letting my fireworks go and igniting the world the way I was meant to The reason I was put on this planet was to do more. And I asked for guidance in that moment. And I got this voice, another male voice that said, get a pen and paper. And I did. And literally my classes, my training was channeled through me because of that Katy Perry.
Amazing.
So I owe this work to Katy Perry.
That's hilarious. You never know when MTV can change your life.
Exactly. I want to leave everyone with one other little tip.
Absolutely.
That I think is really, really helpful, because we get so caught up in our head about saying it right. And it's a mantra that all of my students use and I use before I do anything or before we do anything important. And the mantra is, I don't know what I'm going to say, but it's going to be great. That will align you with possibility, with your pure potential, and with your intention to really make a difference.
I love that. I think that all great speakers probably do have a pre-stage ritual that they do. And thank you for that. That's golden. Mine is, before I go into a class to teach or any place where I'm doing one-on-many presentation, I just literally actually fill that room with light and love. I let my love for the people flood the room before I will walk in there physically. And I just do kind of a gesture of like opening my heart and just like thinking of all the things I'm grateful for just before I step into the room or step into give my talk. Then I feel really held by the love of the people. I used to think about, everybody in the room was mean and judging me, and that made me constrict, and then I was all in the head and cut off. That's, before, in the early days, and when I was able to shift it into really serving, and then just literally like blasting that room with healing light and love, and thinking about how I could be an agent for, a catalyst for upliftment. I really lose all self-consciousness, and I feel like a channel and a conduit. And so that's been my little ritual, but I will add your mantra to
Well, and I will add yours. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Well, and that is why when you do shoot videos, you come across as so beautiful and amazing and rich and just filled with presence.
Thank you, Lynn. Coming from you, I take it as very high compliment, and you truly also exude this. We get how much you care about this work and about the people you are serving. And so thank you for your golden heart and for your nuggets of wisdom. And I'm sure many people received an inspiration to perhaps begin their speaking careers. So if you're watching this and if you are feeling fired up to take your presentation skills to the next level, I highly recommend you take Lynn up on her offer for a free consultation. I mean, that's priceless. Just having a person who's as experienced as she is, and as who can see your potential way beyond you can see yourself, is all it takes to turn that switch on. So you do take her up on that, and also grab her gift down below at bit.ly / stop jitters, all small letters, and that's an amazing gift. I want to thank you so much, Lynn, for your time, for your wisdom, for your light and beauty today. Hope our paths cross very soon indeed. Thank you so much for being here. And please do post your insights, your ahas, and also, if you're inspired to take the next bold step, do share that, because there's power in proclaiming your next bold step and having, people witness it. That's the best accountability holder I know. Please do post your ahas at the private group, Uplevel Summit on Facebook. If you've missed any of the talks so far and you'd like to catch up, please check out our upgrade page. That's uplevel-summit.com/upgrade. And I cannot wait to see you in our next episode. And I want to leave with a great big gratitude to Lynn Kirkham. Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you, Mariko.